Now, Vincenzo is a good friend of mine, and since it's been a while, we haven't done a collab recently, I've decided today we're going to see one of his recipes. So now, let's get started. And be sure to check out Vincenzo's channel after seeing this.
We are going to make cacio e pepe today in less than 12 minutes. So, what I'm going to do now, first we need to cook the spaghetti.
Now, like carbonara, this is also a recipe that does not use cream. No nata. So it's very important to get this creamy sauce with a specific technique that I'm sure Vincenzo is going to show us a little later on. So let's see.
As you can see, I haven't used too much water because we need to get the starch out of this water. So there is a small amount of water, not too much, and I'm adding some rock salt. Rock salt will give the flavor to the water.
In other words, if you fill a pot of water up to the very top and you drop the pasta in, you will dilute the amount of starch that's in that water to the point where if you want to actually use that starch in the water, you're going to have to really reduce the water. So instead of wasting a bunch of time and energy, Vincenzo is going to be using a lot less water to cook the pasta, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And if anybody wonders why we have to season the pasta water, it's because they don't add salt to the pasta. It's not seasoned. So to season the pasta, you need to season the water or the liquid that you're cooking in.
I'm going to cook these beautiful spaghetti. These are spaghettoni, so they're thick spaghetti, and you need to use thick spaghetti for cacio e pepe. It's an important detail for this recipe. Thicker spaghetti. If you can make it by hand, fresh, even better.
Why
otherwise, Susanne, for the creamy pasta like cacio e pepe, it's an authentic type of pasta that you use, the thick spaghetti.
Now, personally, I've never made cacio e pepe before. I've made carbonara, I've made a hell of a lot of risotto before in my life, yeah, which is another dish and another method on making rice. So what Vincenzo is saying about you can only use the thick pasta is actually quite interesting, because I would assume that you could use the tagliatelle, you could use linguine, or you can use any other type of pasta as long as you make sure that it's a good type of pasta. So I'll explain a little more about the types if Vincenzo doesn't a little later on.
I don't have too much water in there, see? I've got enough. There's just enough water in there in order for us to get the starch, okay? Now, while the pasta should cook for about 12 minutes, I'm not going to cook it for 12 minutes like the packet is saying. I'm going to cook it for 9 minutes. The last 3 minutes we'll cook it in there. So cook it 3 minutes less than the normal type pasta cooking time.
You would think that a lot of the time that the time on the packet is like the perfect time to cook the pasta, but more often than not, it's not actually the amount of time that the pasta actually needs to cook. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. The best way to check pasta to see when it's done is to take one little strand and bite it. If it's like al dente, if you like al dente, that's perfect. If you want it a little more cooked, then you cook it longer.
Turn this on a medium heat, and we are going to toast the pepper. Toast the black pepper. This is why it's an important thing to do. It's an important thing to do because we want to get the flavors out. We want the pepper to be more smooth in the flavor. We want the pepper to, to bring all the flavors out. And it's also important that you grate the pepper on the spot.
Wow, that's a lot of pepper.
Oh yeah, I mean, cacio e pepe is pepper and cheese.
Well, that's true.
Oof, can you smell it, Suzanne?
Oh, it can.
The flavors are coming
It
out.
smells a little bit spicy.
See that? That's what you want. That's what you want.
You know the funny thing? That is still not even close to half of the amount of pepper that Jamie used for his carbonara. If you haven't seen our remake of Jamie's carbonara, be sure to check that out. He did a good job, by the way. Yeah, I'm not saying that Jamie did bad. It's just that for me personally, he used too much black pepper in it. Now to talk about what Vincenzo's doing here. Normally when we toast the peppercorns, you want to toast them whole. So you toast them before you put them in the pepper mill. It's fine if you want to do it after, but you need to be very careful if you're going to be doing it like this, because once you crush the peppercorns, once they're in small little pieces, especially in powder, it can burn very quickly, because once black pepper burns, it turns bitter.
See the white? That's starch. Well, I'm using a very good quality pasta over here. Okay, so the pepper is toasting.
You also want to be very careful by putting a lid on the pasta pot, because more often than not, when you're not looking, it will start to overflow. But I'm sure more than a few people have thought when they've cooked pasta for the first time that there may have been soap in the pot. You still want to be careful, that can happen.
The pecorino cheese is the authentic, the only cheese you are meant to use. But also in these days now, people like to mix it with Parmesan because Parmesan is a bit more delicate. There is no delicacy in, in this dish.
And remember, that's pecorino, no pecorina, yeah? In Latin-based languages, either a masculine or feminine ending makes a very, very big difference. I love pecorino. It's a delicious cheese. Normally it's very salty and it can have a very sharp flavor. So if you haven't tried it before, taste it because it can bite, but it's delicious, especially on pizza. Ooh, delicious.
Now, how much pecorino am I going to use? To be honest, I'm not sure. Oh, make sure the water doesn't go out. I don't know how much pecorino. I'm just a lover of pecorino. Suzanne, how much do you love pecorino?
I absolutely love it.
So how much are we going to use?
Lots.
That's the measurement, lots. And look what's happening over here. I'm grating a lot of pecorino so we can make the yummy cream. As you can see, there is no cream involved.
Now this is one of those times when Uncle Roger's saying of just use feeling really does make sense. You just use as much cheese as you want. And I mean, you can use a lot of cheese. You can. What I would recommend though is instead of doing this as you go along with cooking, if you haven't made this recipe before, prep the smaller ingredients like the grated cheese before. That way you have it ready in a bowl next to you as you're focusing on other things.
A little bit more? Okay.
All right, that's enough.
Okay, we can stop now. This is toasted. How do I tell when it's toasted? Because all the flavors came out. So what do I do now, Suzanne? I get a little bit of water. I get a little bit of water here from the pasta water. See, what would that be? That would be about half glass. Put it in there.
Oh, wow.
And all the white that you see there is from the starch. What's important here, we don't want to burn the pepper, eh, Suzanne?
Yeah, exactly.
But this, believe it or not, this water here, it's going to be a cream. Can you believe it?
All right, now Vincenzo's reducing the water to get the starch. This is what's going to make the emulsification with the sauce. This will help. Starch is a good emulsifier. Also, when selecting a pan to make this, you may not want to use a non-stick pan. I mean, this one I think is non-stick. It looks like the coating is non-stick on it, or it used to be non-stick, but you don't want to do scrapey with the pan. And even with a normal stainless steel pan, you still don't want to be scraping. But if you use like a wooden spoon or a risotto spoon or a silicone spatula, it's a little easier on the pan.
We need to put a little bit more pecorino.
More?
Oh yeah. We just came back from Rome, guys. We were there in September and we ate some really, really good cacio e pepe.
Yeah, we did.
And we want to bring this beautiful dish from Rome right into your kitchen.
I've been to Venice, I've been to Turin, I've been to Florence, Pisa, Napoli. I've been to a lot of places in Italy. I've even been to Lake Como. Rome? Not yet.
The cacio e pepe is originally from Rome, okay? There are many different variations of cacio e pepe. This is how I like to make it. I think this is the perfect way to make it. And you don't go wrong with that. But we have 2 more minutes to go. How long have we been cooking so far, Suzanne?
About 4 minutes.
4 minutes. So we got 4 more minutes. Cacio e pepe could be, Suzanne, possibly the easiest in terms of ingredients because we're using 3 ingredients. But if you don't follow the steps, it can be easy. It can be a very difficult dish. So, see that?
Wow.
See all the white? That's from the starch. The water is evaporating.
In other words, this is kind of like making carbonara. I mean, carbonara is a super easy dish to make. It's very simple and straightforward. Yet, if you don't do a few things correctly, you can really mess up the sauce.
I'm gonna get a little bit of pasta water because it's full of starch, but not too much. See? That's all I'm using. That's all I'm using. See that?
Can I see?
Probably even too much. I want to use maybe a little bit less than that. Because what I want to create here, Suzanne, I want to create a very thick cream. I want this to be thick. So can you see how beautiful and creamy it is, Suzanne?
Yes,
see that?
it
It's
is.
nothing thick. This is what it's going to make the cream for a cacio e pepe, okay?
Now this is interesting because I've seen cacio e pepe made before, but I haven't seen this technique where you add a little bit of the pasta water to melt the cheese on the side and then you add that later. I've seen it where some chefs will actually take the grated cheese and then add it straight to the pan to make the sauce. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other, I'm just observing that it's interesting to see different methods of making this.
So now the pasta is ready, it's been 8 minutes, and what I'm going to do is switch off. I need to keep the water in there, so I'm not going to throw the water away, Suzanne, okay? See, it's still very al dente. Can you see it from the camera, how al dente it is?
Now, if anyone thinks that it's a joke that you can tell by the pasta just by looking at it of whether it's done or not, it's somewhat true. You can actually tell to see if it's done. I mean, you still need to check it, but there is a difference when you pick up a piece of pasta that is still not even cooked, not even al dente, compared to one that is al dente, compared to one that's overcooked. With many things, this takes experience. So, I mean, if you're not used to cooking pasta, of course, you're not going to notice a difference. But if you've made this a few times, you'll see the difference.
Full spoon of water. And now it's important for us to mix it properly, okay?
Right, so you mix that pepper through before you put the cheese.
That's right, that's right. It's a bit too dry, see? I need to add a little bit more water. Because I kind of want to cook the pasta in there, Suzanne, you know? See? Now the pasta will cook, see? And at this point, if you like, see the pepper there? You see the pepper in the pasta? See that?
Oh yeah.
At this point, why don't you add more? Let's add more pepper. Fresh pepper.
When you go to the store and you buy normal pasta from your local grocery store, whatever brand it may be, even if it's very yellow or it may be white, but you'll see that it has a very smooth texture. You don't want to be using this type of pasta. Why? Because the smooth texture means that they use Teflon dyes. If the pasta has a very rough texture to it, think of this as spaghetti, this is like a very rough texture to it. It's like very abrasive. This is because they use bronze dyes. Now, bronze dyes are more artisan type pastas, they're more expensive, but there is a benefit. You don't get Teflon, so if you concern yourself with this, you don't need to, and it helps to cling to the sauce. So with a recipe like this, where you're actually making the sauce with the spaghetti itself, it's better to use this pasta. Of course, you can use fresh pasta, and fresh pasta is not going to have this rough texture, but still, it will help.
And again, you need to keep doing this. This technique is called risottare. It's like when you make a risotto, but instead of making risotto, we are cooking pasta using the same technique of risotto. You know when you make risotto, you have to keep stirring? That's what we're doing right now.
Right, okay.
We are stirring.
So it's important to mix.
Very important to mix.
Now that is interesting. That's something that I have never heard of before. Because with risotto, you do have to continuously stir it. I mean, there are tricks. You don't technically need to be there the whole time, but you do have a significant difference in texture from a risotto that you barely move or barely mix it compared to one that you continuously stir it. It will be a much creamier texture.
Very, very, very important. And if you feel like it's a bit dry, like at the moment, I feel like there's not enough water there, you add a little bit more. Okay, because don't forget, we are cooking the pasta in here for 3 more minutes.
And is the reason that you also put it in there so that it infuses with all that peppery goodness?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because obviously you don't want to put the pepper into that big pot of water.
No, that would be a waste. Probably you'll lose all the flavors in there. But see, I mean, I can feel the pasta being so much softer. 30 seconds to go, keep mixing. And now I'll show you how to make the cream for the cacio e pepe.
Now this, of course, is the moment that you need to be careful because with cacio e pepe, you can mess it up. You don't want a very stringy sauce, basically. You don't want like mozzarella strands. And if this was going to be carbonara, I would suggest to turn off the heat at this moment because it prevents you from overcooking or scrambling the egg.
Perfect. So, switch off the pan. The pan is off. You want to put the cheese inside when the fire is off, okay? Normal fire. Here is the cheese, and I'm gonna put it inside, all in. And look what's happening right now, okay? The pasta water is gonna turn this into cream. What you don't want from the cacio e pepe is to get the cheese tutto filante, like you don't want to see strings of cheese, eh, Suzanne?
Right, so it has to melt.
That all has to melt. I want to make sure everything melts.
This is also one of those dishes that if you're using a saucepan to make the pasta, one that's a little deeper but has more of a gradual like incline with the side of the pan, it allows you to toss it easily in the pan. I mean, the pasta itself with the starch, with the cheese, and with everything in it, with the water, will help to create the emulsification.
Beautiful, look at that. Now, it is important. And don't forget that the cheese eventually will become harder, you know? So look, you need to do this right now.
Good.
It's important you make your pasta jump.
Good tossing.
Oh my God, this is super, super, super creamy. Come and have a look. Look how creamy this pasta is.
Oh, this looks delicious. It looks like Vincenzo did a really good job with the sauce. You can also tell in his voice that he's excited, no? You can.
You got creaminess.
It's like a raining pecorino and pepper.
Raining pecorino, I love that. Look at that. Look how fantastic this dish is. Huh?
Yum.
Look, that's the cream that you get, see?
Smell I want.
Real cream, just made with water, pecorino, and love.
Why did anyone even start using cream in the first place?
I have no idea. I really have no idea.
Because it's super easy to do. I mean, it's a cheat, it's a shortcut.
You know what, Suzanne? I can't even wait to serve it. I'm gonna have it a little bit right now.
Really?
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's so hot though.
You know what? I'm gonna have it hot, straight from the pan. Ready? Look how beautiful and moist. Look how beautiful this is.
With this close-up, you can really see in detail how creamy Vincenzo's made the sauce. Could add even more cheese to this and it would just make this even creamier. I mean, it really will. And because you're using pecorino, which is a very salty cheese, you don't need to add salt to this dish.
Can I see it before you burn your
Look at that. Look how fantastic this is. Huh? Beautiful fork.
Wow.
It's a little hot, no?
Whoops, bit hot.
Now, unlike some other people that we have seen taste test on camera and then go, you can tell that Vincenzo really does enjoy this. Like, it does look really, really, really tasty.
Yum. Now we serve it. Ready?
Yeah. No.
I mean, this is a pasta you have to eat straight away, and there's no time for presentation, right?
Now, this dish, kind of like risotto, is one of those dishes where if you add so much cheese or butter to the dish, once it just sits at room temperature, or even if it's a little cold in the room, like right now during winter, it will start to solidify, and it's not fun. You have to eat it hot, and you have to eat it immediately.
What about pepper?
More pecorino. More pepper. And e ora si mangia. Vincenzo's plate. The perfect cacio e pepe. For you.
Let me know, guys, down below if you have tried Vincenzo's cacio e pepe recipe and how it turned out, but it seemed like a very easy, straightforward recipe and very simple. The quality of the ingredients really matter, so this will make or break the dish. Like literally, if you're not using good ingredients, it's not going to taste that good. If you use better ingredients, the authentic ingredients, it'll taste great. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a like and a share, and until next time, guys, take care.